Hello, it's Andy from Email Love, and in this video, we are going to build an email in Figma, export it to Braze, and then translate it with Smartling. And so to kick things off, we are going to first jump into Figma and use the Email Love Figma plugin to create our email. And we'll just touch on this, we'll just show you the export process. So here is the email that we will be exporting. As you can see, it's in English, and what we want to do is we want to make it super easy and fast to translate this into German and French as well. And so I won't go through the actual build process. Let's just assume that we're happy with this email, and we now want to export it to Braze. So I'm going to choose Braze from the drop-down menu. I already have set up an API connection, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Add Localization Tag button, as well as the localization tag for URLs. And what that is going to do is it's going to wrap the text, the URLs, the alt text in translation tags for us. So these are Braze translation tags, and that means you don't need to manually add these tags to your email code or inside of a drag and drop builder. So if you are doing this in Braze, this is a much, much faster way to build your content and get the translation tags added around all of the copy. Okay, so I'm going to enable that, and then let's click on the big blue Export to Braze button. And that took a few seconds, and it's now uploaded my email as responsive email code with translation tags into Braze. So let's jump on over to our Braze account, and that will appear in the template section of Braze. So here it is here. We can actually open it up, and you can see it's added translation tags around all of our copy, as well as the URLs in the email. And so to get it into Smartling, which is the translation tool we'll be using, I'm going to first create a campaign. So let's just call it our Email Love Trends. Okay. And then I am going to I'm going to create a new campaign. Sorry, I jumped into an existing campaign. So let's call this Trends, and then I'm going to choose from a template. I'm going to select the existing template that I just uploaded, and you're going to see the email code with the translation tags added around it. We will then need to save this as a draft. Okay, so that's now a draft, and one step that we need to take before we upload into Smartling is we do need to add our locale languages. So I'm going to select English, French, and German, as I mentioned. And then we'll need to save this as a draft again. Okay, so we now have our email with the translation tags. We've saved the languages that we want to translate into. This email should now appear in Smartling. And we will first jump into Smartling, and we will need to create a new project. So let's go to all projects and create a new one. And just to show you how to connect to Braze, you would create the project, use the connector option. Give your project a name, select Braze as the connector type. And then I'm going to use my linguistic package that I have out of the box. And then I need to choose the languages that I want to translate to, which in this case is French and German. Okay, so I'm going to create that project. Okay, now before I see anything in Braze, I do need to come into settings, and I need to go into the Braze settings to create the connection. So we need to connect this to Braze, and we will need the API URL, the API key, and the language attribute, as well as the source language. So let's jump back into Braze. And we are going to go into the APIs and identifiers section. Click on API keys, and then click on create API key. Give your API key a name, and then typically I believe you only need to give it access to templates, although I haven't personally had success with that. So I have been checking all of these boxes and then clicking on create API key, and that gives me my new API identifier. So I can copy this as the API key into Smartling. Sorry, I need to jump back and forth a little bit. Here's the endpoint URL. Oops. The language attribute is actually the same as the example here. And the source language is English. Yes, and we want a one-time. In this case, you can either choose if you want one email for all of your languages, or if you want a separate email per language. So you can choose that here. In this case, I'm just going to choose one email for all of my languages. And I'm going to click on the test connection, and hopefully, yes, we get a successful connection here. So I'm going to save that. And so now we have connected Smartling to Braze. And if we jump into the Braze tab over here, we should see our campaign. So we have on the left-hand side, you can either translate the templates or you can translate a campaign. In this example, I'm just going to select the campaign that I set up. Okay, so I'm going to check this box, and then I am going to request a translation. I'm going to give it a name and select my target languages. And this is going to be a AI translation. So it's preparing the HTML. Again, I haven't needed to manually add translation tags or anything like that. And then I can just simply select my translation method and authorize the job. And because this is an AI-powered translation, it shouldn't take too long to do that. And we can actually go into the job, I believe. So just so you can see it's in progress. It's translating 173 words. I believe you can actually have a look at it. Yeah, so you can see it's extracted all of the copy, and it's just going through and updating all of that. If you need to translate URLs, you can also come in here and you can manually update the URLs directly in Smartling as well. Okay, so I think that should be almost finished. So let's jump back into Braze, And we're going to come into the campaign tab again. And what we can now do is when we preview our message, we're going to select multi-language user. And you can see here, it has very nicely translated our message into French and German. So that was pretty quick. And again, if you are manually adding translation tags, then this could be a really fast alternative way to design, build, and translate your emails. So that is all I wanted to show you. It's a pretty quick and simple process, as you saw. I think this took us just around 10 minutes to set this up. So if you have any questions, please feel free to add those into the comments or reach out to us via our support email or join our Discord community. Okay, thanks.